Hello, welcome to the other part of Ask the King, Endure, whatever. I got my lunch here, got on deck. I got noodles. I didn't want anything too heavy for a lunch. I was thinking of getting a hamburger, but I was like, I think I'm just gonna eat something light, like some nice noodles. Now I didn't want to make them because I was lazy, so. Yes, I'm fully admitting I am being lazy right now. So, yeah. Oh, we got...
Mail, motherfucker!
Okay. Never mind.
Okay, everybody. Phil here again. Welcome. This is part 2 of Ask the King, episode 60 for July 7th, 2016. I strongly recommend you go back and watch part 1 if you have not seen it yet. Lots of good questions this time around, as usual. But now, because I have so many, let's jump right back into the fray, shall we? All right. Our next question from Hoovian Dragon. What a nice name. It's an interesting name. He says, "Hello, Phil. I have an interesting question for you. It's a what-if question, but it's interesting nonetheless. If Nintendo were to end up going out of business in the future, and Sony and Microsoft were still neck and neck in the gaming industry, where do you think that the popular Nintendo characters would go? Will they get split up between the two companies? Do you think that one company will end up buying out all of their..."
He's talking as... Well, so far it sounds like he's treating like a... Microsoft and Sony are like parents, and they're getting a divorce, and Nintendo has to find time to go between mom or dad.
Characters? Will they die out and not even go on to other companies? Also, a follow-up question. Do you think the companies will try to keep the Nintendo characters close to what they were, or change how the games will be played overall? Whew. That is a loaded question, because it is a hell of a what-if question. I mean, you're assuming number...
Well, let's say that they go out of business. I honestly feel Nintendo's going to go with Sony because they're a Japanese developer, and they also did try to form a collaboration way before the PlayStation 1 and N64. Like, really what happened is that Nintendo eventually went with Panasonic, I think, or Philips. I think it was Philips. And that's how we got the CDI games. And then Sony was like, yeah, we're going to make our own console, and they did. So they were going to originally partner up. So I think that it would be Sony and Nintendo. They would never go to Microsoft. Microsoft is a American company, and I just don't think their relationship with Microsoft would be as good as
For one,
Sony.
Nintendo's going to keep on the path of failure that they've had for a while now in their console gaming market. And that whatever they do in the future, whether it's the NX or whatever the next big thing is, that they're never going to end up turning things around and start turning a profit again. The bottom line is Nintendo is still making money, but it's because they diversified amongst things like amiibos and such, and are they making...
And such as the 3DS, apparently, because they've been making bank with 3DS and the amiibos. But, it's funny. Every Ask the King, we always have a question about Nintendo and about, other stuff. I mean, he's getting the same questions at this point.
As much money when they were super popular, white hot, synonymous with console gaming, no. But they're certainly not in a situation where they're going to go out of business, okay? So it definitely is a what-if question. If Nintendo were to actually officially go out of business, what I would say is probably what they would do, I mean, this is my take, would be to sell their characters off on a licensed basis, meaning no one owns the characters, but you can purchase a license to create a game with those characters, such as what happened with Sonic the Hedgehog. If you remember, Sonic was the synonymous character with Sega, and the Sega Genesis, and the Sega CD, and all the Sega brand was Sonic, Sonic, Sonic. And then Sega went out of business, and they still exist, but nowhere in the capacity that they used to. They don't make games anymore. Instead, they just license out their character Sonic. And look, Sonic...
They don't make games anymore? I'm pretty sure they do. You don't make consoles anymore, but I think they still make games, but whatever. Sorry about that.
Sonic has been on a ridiculous amount of consoles. Nintendo, Microsoft, PlayStation, everywhere. Because the bottom line is you're going to want to have the most exposure and the most potential to bring in profit. So why limit yourself to only one console line? If Mario was only on the Xbox, what about the entire giant market of people who own the PlayStation 4, right? And vice versa. It really doesn't make any sense that they would do one and not the other, okay? So that's what I think would be the smart business decision. Now, I'll be honest, though, Nintendo doesn't usually make the smart business decision. Nintendo usually has this hoity-toity kind of a we are the best, the elitists of gaming. We know better than everyone else. We're innovators. Right? We don't care. We don't have to compare. We don't have to compete with graphics. We don't have to compete with everyone else. We do whatever we want, and we're just going to survive because we're the best. And that...
No, that's not their intention. They feel that they don't need to compete because they don't care about graphics. If people cared about graphics, then people should really be playing on PC. If graphics are that big of an issue, because right now the PS4 sucks compared to PC. This is fucking... he just has to find a way to shit on Nintendo. He really hates Nintendo. Like, I don't know why. I assume Nintendo somehow raped him when he was a kid, maybe. I don't know. Because, yeah, you could say, well, it's this whole copyright thing with YouTubers and strikes and all that stuff that Nintendo has been doing, or like whatever they've been doing. But really, it doesn't affect him. So that doesn't really piss him off anymore. He just hates Nintendo because he hates Nintendo. He hates how... He's probably angry that Nintendo doesn't have to change as much and they still make enough money to survive, while Phil has to change all the time. And he makes no money, so he's probably jealous. It's probably just a jealousy thing with him.
Attitude has not worked for them recently. It did at one point. At one point, they went against the grain and they did things completely differently, and it worked for them. Not for the past 5 or so years. They have gone all the way down as a console creator and a game creator. And then now they're just starting to plateau a little bit with the Wii U, and it's the Amiibos that are shooting their sales back up. What's going to happen with this NX? I have no idea. But, I mean, I seriously...
I think that's funny that he's shitting on Nintendo for that. But the Wii U games are really good, though. I've played Wii U games. They're really good games. It's just but it's just Nintendo games. Like, if you're gonna buy an NX, a Wii U, and you're not gonna buy it for the Nintendo games, you're wasting money. That's how I feel about it. Is when you buy a Wii U, you are buying it for the Nintendo games. That's it. That's all you're buying it for.
Would not be surprised, even though I don't think this would be the smart business decision, if Nintendo was going to... you know what? That's it. We're retiring everyone. No more Mario. No more Donkey Kong. No more, none of our classic... They're all done. They're done. No more. We're done as a game company. Thanks for 30, 40-some years of success as a game maker, and see you in hell. And that would be it. And that would it. They would all fall into obscurity and never be seen again. Because that's how Nintendo is. They're the best. So if they failed, that means we're at fault. The consumers were at fault for the failure of the...
What? How does that make any sense? Like... Oh, man. This Nintendo hate is fucking insane. Makes no fucking sense. None. So, if Nintendo goes under, he thinks that they're gonna blame the consumer. They're just gonna say thank you for the wild ride, and that's it. They're not gonna say, well, you guys didn't buy our shit, so that's why we're going under. No company does that. Phil would definitely do that. That's the kind of guy he is. He would blame his viewers. Hell, he mentions in other videos tons of times that he blames views for why he doesn't continue a playthrough. He blames the viewers about it. So he's really projecting, which is a pastime of his.
Wii U, obviously. It's our fault for not embracing the new technology and knowing that Nintendo knew better than us, right? So, I mean, obviously, because then, of course, they came out with the Amiibos, and the Amiibos are a hit. So it must have been that we just didn't understand the Wii U. That's how Nintendo is.
What?
Culturally wise, the way they think is fucking nuts. So I don't...
Where's the proof in this? He's slandering Nintendo. He has no proof that that's how Nintendo thinks. He has no proof that, the Amiibos are a success because of this. Nothing he said here made any sense. Because it's blind rage. He blindly hates Nintendo for no reason. Literally no reason. There's no reason why he hates Nintendo. I can't figure it out. So, yeah.
I don't know what would happen. I told you what I think the smart thing would be, okay?
Okay.
Now, I actually have 2 questions that were directly related, so I'm going to read them both, and then I'm going to answer them collectively, all right?
Oh, boy.
So the first question was from Final Light. He said, hey, Phil, you haven't talked about your back for a long time. What's the situation now? Since you haven't really talked about your back much, I figured that it's not bad.
He doesn't have a bad back. He lied because, thanks to Dragon Killer, shout out Dragon Killer, he posted saying that how Phil said it was a car accident, then it wasn't the car accident, then he blamed his mom because he thought it was inherited. So it doesn't really make sense. It was back, so it's a lie. It's a lie. There's even videos of him moving his back and dancing, so...
Like it used to be. Hope to hear a positive answer. And then the other question was actually from Atlas Telemon, and he asked, Phil, with the obvious weight loss across the years that you've had, the different climate in Seattle, and your back seeming to be in better shape, would you share with us an update on your health? And could
weight loss, okay, so... I watched some of his old videos. Oh my god, this is so greasy. I saw most of his videos. His old ones. And, he didn't look that fat. He had a fat, stomach and chest and all that kind of shit. But, not as bad as it is now, where he has saggy man tits. No chin. Literally, no chin. I'm kind of developing some fat here, but it's not like Phil, where it's just this big dewlap. I have a rabbit. And rabbits do tend to get these, dewlaps under their chin. His is bigger than my rabbit's. Which is quite a feat, because all my rabbit does is eat, poop, and sit down. She hates going outside, she hates people, she hates everything. She hates everything. And she thinks she's pregnant every day, so, great. And he's fatter than her.
Junction, do you take painkillers? Is your health insurance sorted out? Would you ever consider using medicinal marijuana since it's legal now in the state of Washington? Wow, what a question. So let me give you some cumulative answers here, all right? Health-wise, first, my back. My back is not perfectly fixed. All right, it's never going to be perfectly fixed. When you have back issues like I had, a severely herniated disc to the point where the disc was ready to rupture, but just luckily didn't, you're never gonna be fully...
Oh, that detractor disc, it's waiting, it's biding its time, it's set up... Dude, his back is setting up traps for him. So once he's about to get really good views, his back is gonna
100% like you were again, alright? I would never take it upon myself to run out and do physical sports, again, tackling and shit, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be lifting heavy weights or doing heavy kind of moving around or anything like that for an extended period of time. Not to say that there aren't physical things that I do, but that if I do them, I try to really keep them down so that I don't overdo it and end up re-injuring myself. Now, the good news is, for the most part, since I've moved to the state of Washington, my back only hurts in certain situations. If I'm on my feet for an extended period of time, or if I'm in the same position for an extended period of time. So if I'm sitting here for...
I have a friend that's like this. They always say, oh, I can't stand up for this amount of time and all that. And it's fucking load of shit. I'm sorry, but this is such a load that, people with extreme baggage have this. They always have this baggage where they're like, oh, I'm special and I need this and that. and it's always about them. Always. Because it's mental. It's a mental thing. Somewhere in his life, he probably felt that he wasn't getting enough attention from his parents. I know I'm playing psychiatrist over here. He didn't get any affection from his parents, so he created a back injury. So his parents could be like, "Oh, Phil, it's okay. Sit down, my prince, and we'll do whatever you want," because he fucking hates his parents.
6 hours not moving, playing a game, and I get up, my back hurts. So that's why I take breaks during my streams and stuff so that I can walk around and stretch out and not have my back be all jacked up all day. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
But for the most part, because of the new living situation,
Yeah, playing video games is such a strenuous work on his back. He just sits there like this. This is so strenuous. My back is killing me right now. I'm like, dude, I don't know how he does it. Fell on my shirt. It's all clean. Dude, oh man. I can't believe his back goes through so much torture so he can play games with us.
that I'm in, I have a garage, right? So when I go grocery shopping or whatever, I can bring stuff right into my kitchen. I'm not going up and down stairs. I'm not doing crazy amounts of walking back and forth with heavy stuff. Everything where I live now that I need is in a short driving distance, including groceries, food, home improvement supplies, electronics, entertainment. Like there's an arcade, movie theater. Anything you could think of that we would want is within, say, a 20-minute driving distance. I have no reason to drive for a long period of time. I have not gotten on the highway once since we've moved here 2 years ago. That's how crazy. We've driven to Seattle, downtown Seattle. We don't have to get on a highway. We can drive on a normal road. It takes like 40 minutes to get there. It's wild how awesome everything is location-wise for us here.
Wait, so he doesn't take the highway so you get there faster? He takes the longest way. His girlfriend could drive him to Seattle. Now, before I hear like, oh, well, he would never do that. He made his girlfriend cook for him when she was sick. I wouldn't put it past him that he makes her drive him everywhere.
So in many ways, it's kind of like the flip side of what the situation was in Connecticut. In Connecticut, there was snow. There was ice. There was potential to slip. There was potential I had to shovel stuff and get my car out, right? I didn't have a good location in my condo. Whenever I went grocery shopping, I had to carry heavy bags across this giant parking lot and then into a staircase and then up to my condo. It was a pain in the ass. You know, all these things now I'm avoiding. I don't have to do them anymore. So it's a much better situation, and in that regard, things are good. Also,
so I don't understand. If his back was so bad, wouldn't he ever have gotten into like a back injury when he was in Connecticut? How come now? I don't know.
So what I'm eating now is much healthier than what I was eating when I was a bachelor back in Connecticut. Leanna cooks a decent amount. She probably, I would say, cooks more than half of the week. Maybe once or twice tops we go out.
We already know that that's a lie. That he's gonna say, "Oh, we go out 2 times a week." No, that's a lie. We know that's a lie. I'm pretty sure he Instagrams it too, but that's like me saying, "Look, I'm eating buttered noodles, guys. It's healthy because it's noodles. It has no like this. It's like no, this is fucking junk food. I know this is junk food, but like he doesn't eat anything healthy. He bathes everything in cheese. That is not healthy at all."
To get something to eat a week, but for the rest of the week she's cooking, and she's cooking healthy things like pork chops, pork loin, chicken.
Pork isn't that healthy, and it's not really good for you. Because the thing with pork is you really have to make sure you cook it. You have to. Like you can't just cook it willy-nilly. It's not like any other meat where you can just cook it and eat it. Pork requires you to make sure it's clean and make sure you cook it well enough, because there's a lot of bacteria. It's almost not worth eating pork, to be honest. I don't really like pork personally, but I wouldn't say pork is healthy. I really would not say that, but
Tomorrow we're having chicken thighs. Right now she's marinating the chicken thighs in this delicious sauce that we bought. Oh my god, we had it 2 weeks ago. It was the most mouth-watering chicken I think I've ever had in my life. I almost like fuck.
What kind of sauce? What company? Because obviously he doesn't make his own sauce, so he has to buy it in a can, which has all kinds of chemicals and like stuff and all that in it. Yeah.
Passed out at the table. It was so fucking good. And that's what I mean, like healthy meal, broccoli, mixed veggies, some bread here or there, things like that. I'm not eating the fast food crap that I was eating all the time when I was a bachelor in Connecticut. So right now, diet-wise, my body is much better than it ever has been. Now, weight-wise, I'm certainly nowhere near as light as I ever was, but I'm nowhere near as big as I was. Especially when I started on YouTube, I was pushing like 240. 240 pounds is a lot of weight for one person, all right? So I was pushing it. And now I think on average, I average between 200 to 220, and it fluctuates. Sometimes I'll be down, sometimes I'll be...
How does it fluctuate? That's not how your body weight works. You can't just go down a pound and up a pound and... No. The only way that works is if you work out, which he doesn't do, and that, like, how do you fluctuate? How is that even possible? That's not even humanly possible. This guy doesn't know how anything works. I mean, there was a lot of things that were wrong what he just said. A lot of things. The weight that you said that is way too much for a normal human, that's completely false. Because you can have that much weight. The point when you should worry about your weight is honestly, well, in my opinion, if I need special seatbelts. There you go.
Up, and I know if I worked out, if I ate a little bit better or whatever, and I could probably get it down to just under 200. I think my ideal weight's supposed to be like 190 or 195, and I'm like 10, 15 pounds over that. But I'm okay with that because the bottom line is I'm not so heavy that it's hurting my back. You know what I mean? Now, in regards...
Yeah, it's just hurting his heart. I mean, well, at least it's not hurting his back, but his heart, on the other hand, nothing he could do.
To medications and stuff, all right? There was a time when I was in Connecticut, my back always hurt. I always had shooting nerve pain, okay? It got to the point where my legs were numb. That's how bad my back was. That's really bad. When you get numbness in your limbs, you're in trouble, okay? It means that you are on the precipice of being paralyzed, one step away. But I never took painkillers, never, because I have a few people in my family who have addictive personalities, and they got addicted to some bad stuff. And in particular, one of them is a close relative of mine who will remain nameless, but has never in their entire life been off of something. Let's put it that way. And I know for a fact that more than likely...
Wow. This guy airs such... Man, I would never, bring up my family like that. It's just like, oh, well... You always have something going on with them, and they got addicted to bad stuff. Did they get that stuff prescribed to them from a doctor, Phil? Or did they go to an alleyway and get prescriptions by a doctor? And also, yeah, it's just what doctor did he see? What what medication was he on? I mean, if you're not going to name the person, at least name the medication.
Kind of person that I am, with the history that I am, that I tend to sometimes get addicted to certain things, that if I were to start taking painkillers, I may become dependent on them. Now I can't even start my day until I have my painkiller today, right? I got to pop the pills. And I don't want that life.
That's not how painkillers work. You should look at the brand that you're getting. If you're afraid of getting addicted to them, find a painkiller that's not addicting. No, I might get crucified for saying this, but I believe Advil might be a type of painkiller, but it's not addictive. It's just, you don't need to get, these hardcore painkillers. If you don't... I don't know. And like I myself, when you know, if I go to the dentist and they say like, oh well, you know, you might need to, like for instance, actually, I had braces and they said, oh, well, you know, after the when we put the braces on, you might want to have painkillers. So we can prescribe you painkillers if you want to cope with the pain until like you know that. I said no, it's fine. I'll deal with it, and I dealt with it. I did not need medication. I did not need anything because I was able to tolerate it. Now I don't know how bad the pain he feels with his back. I can't say, but if he doesn't want to do medication, he could just find a soft core drug for it, or just deal with it. I don't know.
I don't want to become a zombie. I don't want to become a slave to it and then become where the whole life is about it, right? So I do self-medicate. When I do have some pain in my back, I have a drink or two to numb it a little bit. And I try not to go overboard with any kind of self-medication that I do. No, I don't smoke marijuana, and I've already said this before, and I've said it again, I never will because I hate smoke.
Okay. It's all important to know. Alcohol is addicting. It is. You don't think it is, but it is. Because people can actually die from alcohol withdrawals. It's just that it might take longer for you to form an addiction to it, where you might, you know, where you might go through withdrawals with it, but you can be addicted to alcohol. So he's saying that he doesn't want to do pills because he's afraid of forming an addiction, but he's okay with drinking gin, where he can actually get an addiction. And also, alcohol is fatty, so he's gaining fat by drinking. So it's not a healthy lifestyle to be drinking alcohol. That's not healthy. Healthy people don't drink alcohol, and honestly, if he keeps it up, he's gonna end up puking blood, and he's gonna have more than a back injury to worry about. And gout. He's gonna have more than gout to worry about.
I hate the feeling of smoke in my lungs because I actually have weak lungs because my mother was a chain smoker. She still is a chain smoker. And I grew up in a house where it was constantly full of cigarette smoke. She smoked when she was pregnant, and I have very weak lungs.
No. Fuck you, Phil. I can tell you right now that's a load of shit. Right now, no doubt. Because I too grew up in a family of smokers. Well, my parents were. My mom stopped. She stopped years ago. But I don't have weak lungs. I can go on a treadmill, I can run, I can do all kinds of stuff. Doesn't affect your lungs. Now, smoking while he's pregnant, well, you know, there's side effects, but it's not as bad compared to drinking when you're pregnant. But I mean, you shouldn't do either. But just wow, little shit right there. Man, he has good lungs, but now he's claiming that he has bad lungs. Okay, sure, Phil, I believe you.
You know, you always hear me sometimes. I'm coughing and everything. It's mostly because of my health issues with my lungs and stuff like that. If it's a cold winter's day and there's a cold breeze coming by, I can't breathe. The cold air actually...
Are you fucking kidding me? These coughs don't... No. You don't have bronchitis, DSP. Again, I grew up with smokers, and I don't have any of these issues. I was in the cold in the winter, and I'm able to breathe just fine. If actually I breathe better in the winter than I do in the summer or spring or in the transitional parts of the season, because that's natural. That's natural how people kind of, when the seasons change, you know, the atmosphere changes, the climate changes, and you know your body has to adapt to that.
Makes my lungs freeze up because my lungs are not like the strongest that there are. They're actually much weaker than a lot of other people's.
That's a load of shit. No, your lungs don't freeze, Phil. No. If your lungs would freeze, you would die. Or be close to death. You would be in a bad state to the point where you would need, like, very special treatments. You're not that special, Phil. You don't have these issues. No one has these issues.
So, I tried smoking when I was in high school. I smoked marijuana too. I'll openly admit it. Yes, I hate it. I hate that feeling of smoke in my lungs. It hurts me. It actually makes me feel ill.
Dude, I bet when he smoked like really harsh. Like, he puts the weed there. He does, and when he breathed all that in, because when you smoke weed, tips for you potential potheads. When you smoke and and it's your first time and you smoke a lot, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna cough and all of this. But once you keep doing it's not gonna hurt anymore. But like, it depends on how harsh you hit the apparatus you're using. If you're using a pipe, bong, whatever, depending on how harsh you hit it, depends on how much it hurts. So this fucking asshole probably, see, I mean anything. The people who shared their weed with him probably regret having this guy there because he probably smoked all of it. He is probably the kind of guy that, like, he lights the pipe and he burns the entire bowl, and all the weed becomes near ash, and everyone else is like, oh great, we get the scraps.
I never would want to smoke marijuana, and painkillers I would not want to get hooked on. So I never have professionally medicated anything with my back or anything like that. It's always just been self-medication if I had anything. All right. Now I believe you had one more question in here. Hold on. Oh, the health insurance situation. He says, is my health insurance sorted out?
We're not going to do that. He whines about it all the time. All the time. Prepare for another rent. Yeah, no.
Let's see.
We're not doing that.
Next question is from Ano Rub. And Ano Rub says, hey Phil, with Doom and Overwatch both being released this year, do you think that 2016 might be the first-person shooter year, like in 2009, what it was with fighting games with Street Fighter 4 and the resurgence of several other franchises following it? Excuse me. You know, it's funny because I've mentioned this. I've mentioned this over the years. I said, it seems to me now that I'm covering games for YouTube that it comes in waves of popularity, right? At one point, a certain kind of game will be very popular. It'll hit a peak, and then it'll go and dip to a valley, right? Fighting games weren't very popular.
I honestly think that this is the weirdest year for video games, to be honest. I don't see this year being a FPS year because Uncharted 4 came out, and that was also a big thing. But yeah, just because of Doom and Overwatch, I don't know. I wouldn't say this is the year of FPSs, but whatever.
Oh, they were super popular in the 90s, all the way to the late 90s, early 2000s. Woo! And then they kind of went like this. And then around the early to mid 2000s, they went down like this. And they were gone for a good 4 or 5 years until Street Fighter 4 released, and they went up like this, and you had Street Fighter 4 and all its iterations, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, right? The Tekken resurged, and Mortal Kombat re-released, and up. And now you got Street Fighter 5, and it's there. And I get the feeling, honestly, strongly, it's going to start to go like a plateau, and maybe you'll see a little bit, this.
No. He hates Street Fighter 5 a lot. I played Street Fighter 5. Love that game. That game is great. I wouldn't say it's the best fighting game. Obviously, you guys know what's number one on my list. You guys already know, but Street Fighter 5 is pretty good. I actually like it more than 4. So yeah, the only thing is that it needs an arcade mode. Once it gets an arcade mode, man.
How it happens, right? First-person shooters. When I started on YouTube, first-person shooters were insanely huge because of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, right? Modern Warfare 1 and 2 were giant games that resurged the entire industry. Remember, you had Battlefield Bad Company, the Call of Duty series, you had Halo, you had Killzone. Oh, God, what was the other popular one for a while?
Killzone.
I can't remember the name of it now. Oh, there was one other franchise that was huge.
Crysis?
But anyway, then you had the spin-off, things like Bulletstorm, these standalone first-person shooter games, Spec Ops: The Line, remember that one? All these games that were first-person shooters, but they had, actually was Spec Ops a first-person shooter? Now I can't even remember. But what I'm saying is, first-person shooter formula, throw in a variation of story or gameplay mechanic, and it was huge. No matter what kind of game it was, it ended up being like a bestseller. And then, I'd say probably around 2011, 2012, decline again. And now what you've got is oversaturation, where you've got Call of Duty every year. No one likes it anymore. I mean, look at Infinite Warfare, the insanely negative feedback that it's getting. But all of a sudden this year, Anna Rubb is right. We had a resurgence. All of a sudden, we had Doom, a classic first-person shooter franchise we haven't heard from in quite some time, comes out with a new version of their game, modernized, and it's great, and it sells great, and everyone's like, wow, we did not expect this, but it's amazingly good. And we're all happy, right? Overwatch, a game that took the formula from a game like Team Fortress 2 and for the first time in like 10 years, modernized it a bit, put 21 characters into the game to start, and everyone's playing Overwatch, right? The competitive team-based first-person shooter is back in a big way. Now, we do have a game like Infinite Warfare that probably a lot of people are going to not fucking play this year, but then you got the flip side. Battlefield 1, a game that's going to go back to the roots of the series and play as a more classic, old-school first-person shooter game. It could be a resurgence. Yeah, I'm very interested to see, with all the games coming out the rest of this year, is this the year of the first-person shooter resurgence? And will we see in the coming years first-person shooters now get more and more attention because of it? I don't know, but that's how it tends to happen, all right?
Didn't really answer the question, but okay, Phil.
The next question is from I Cured It With My Brain, and he asked the following. I recently read an article about Comcast. Apparently, they're raising their data cap to 1,000 gigabytes or 1 terabyte per month in a trial market or trial markets as an experiment. With the amount of videos that you post daily, I'm curious, on average, how many gigabytes of data do you use per month? I do use Comcast. And yes, this actually a couple months ago, this was a news story, and I actually tweeted about it and said, I completely disagree with this kind of bullshit. It is bullshit, because the bottom line is, if the companies have operated and have been profitable with unlimited data, the only reason for them to institute a data cap is because they want more money. Has nothing to do with the fact that they don't have the capability and that, you know, that technology isn't advancing to need unlimited data. It's they see this. They see the greed.
Of course. I mean, that's why we have Comcast trying to push a lot of stuff through Congress to have like a fast lane internet and a slow lane internet and all this kind of shit, which is honestly bad. So I do kind of agree that this whole thing with data caps are just there for money. Because it makes sense for phones to have like a data cap because of a fucking phone and you know, whatever. But the internet is an important thing. You need the internet. And I really think it's dumb to have these data caps. But whatever. I mean, if it's like... But a terabyte's a lot, so I don't know. Whatever.
Greed, the need for greed, right? And they're like, well, people are using more and more data. Why give it to them all for free? We'll give them a 1 terabyte a month, and then we'll charge them like $5 extra per terabyte or $10, you know, whatever it will be. I'm sure it'll be insane. It won't be like $5. It'll be like $100 for an extra terabyte or something. And they are doing this in limited markets. I don't know why they're doing it in limited markets. They're not doing it here, by the way. I think it was like Baton Rouge or something, somewhere like the South, southern United States. Don't know why they're doing it there, okay? But of course, everyone had an uproar about it and said, what is this bullshit? How could they do this? Yada, yada, yada. The bottom line is this. I don't know what my data is, my data usage, because I don't know about live streaming. Live streaming, I'm doing like 9,000 kilobytes or kilobits a second. So just think about that. In a second, I'm doing that much, and I'm streaming for 3.5 hours a day, right? So you got that data use daily, plus I'm uploading videos, which I don't know what the upload usage is, but I do know that each video that I make, let's say I make a 15-minute video, on average, depending on the game and how much is going on, it could be anywhere from like a gigabyte to maybe up to 2 gigabytes. Sometimes it could exceed that if it's a longer video. So you're talking every day I'm making 10, 12 videos, so you're talking, you know, 10, 20 gigs of upload a day, right? So right there, if you're talking 20 gigs a day times 30 days, that's a lot. You know what I mean? That's not chicken scratch. Plus all the uploading with the streaming that I'm doing. Chances are I would be exceeding their terabyte limit, okay? But the caps they're talking about are for basic customer use. The standard customer who pays the base amount for internet is going to get the data cap. I have the business line. The reason I have the business line is because a business needs unlimited internet. It needs the fastest possible internet to operate. Therefore, if they tried to institute a data cap on me, I could sue them. I could actually say no. When I signed up for your business line years ago, the agreement was unlimited data usage so I could operate my business. If you cap my business line, you're effectively putting me out of business, and I would actually have legal means to.
Yeah, it's sure, Phil. See, I'm sure if Comcast wanted to do that, they would have put a little clause in their little contract you signed that said that anything that, I doubt he reads the terms of service. Somewhere there, it probably leaves it so that you are also accepting to any further changes we may have for the business connection. But don't tell him that. Maybe he will sue them and lose. That is still kind of shit. Of course, he gets the special treatment because he's the king.
Sue them for damages for, let's say, for example, my business couldn't operate using their internet anymore. And let's say how much money I make a year. I could sue them for it. So they'd be legally liable for whatever my income is for the year because they turned off the internet per the contract that we both signed when I started with their service 2 years ago. So actually, they can't do that to me. Not to say they wouldn't try, but you would think someone, especially because I'm paying so much more. I'm paying more than double what the average internet user pays for my internet. So I doubt, even if they instituted a data.
This guy is struggling financially, but he's able to pay for an internet service that costs more than what normal people pay. So at that point, he still loses because at least I can say, yeah, I might get a cap on my internet, but I can at least say like, oh, I'm not paying that much, and I'm still able to do what I'm doing.
Cap, right? Then they have to lower the price of my internet to make it an average so I can pay for the extra for whatever I'm using. Chances are I'd end up paying the same anyway. So I see where you're going with your question. I cured it with my brain. The answer is I'm not at risk. It's not going to affect me, luckily, and there's no worries on that front. But I wholeheartedly disagree with the data caps. They're obviously doing it for this. And I do agree that it should be shut down. It needs to stop because Comcast already is fucking greedy enough. All right. Next question.
That is
from
true.
Final Light. He says, Phil, I doubt you'll ever get to this question, but how do you do your hair? Oh. When I try to slick it back, it doesn't work. It gets destroyed after 20 minutes, and it puffs up and looks like shit. Can you give me advice on how to make your hair stay the way it is, and how long does that process take? Have a great one.
Okay, so this is my hair. See my hair? See it? Yeah, it's pretty dope, right? So I just take this normal gel and I just kind of fluff it around. I don't put too much because I don't want it to look disgusting, so I want to make it look at least natural, which I do. So I also get a comb and I just kind of comb it, simple like that. The way that Phil does it is fucking disgusting, so I would never do that. That's not even a fashionable hairstyle. That's not even a in hairstyle. No one has their hair like that anymore.
Well, my hair, as you can see, it is crushed by the hat right now, so it is extra flat than how it usually is. But I am a big chunk Italian, and in my heritage, it just is oily. Oily skin, oily hair. I've always had oily skin and oily hair. So because I have oily hair,
Yeah, I'm so glad that he said this. I'm Greek, by the way. There you go. I've said this probably many times, but your body naturally is oily. The other thing that matters, that makes a difference, is that if you stay inside, you will definitely get oily and greasy. I'm like greasy and oily right now because I'm inside. I'm not outside. I'm not in the sunlight where, whatever. That's why you also have to get, I have certain like facial creams that I put on to make my skin not as oily. But it's a natural thing. The hair. I never had oily hair. It's just it might get oily because I might be sweating. And again, it depends on the environment that you're in. Normal people who actually have a job and leave their house, since they leave their house, they don't really have enough time to develop a lot of oils in their body. And also diets. Diets also matter. Like, this guy eats a lot of fast food. That's why he's very oily.
actually able to just take a brush. I have a brush, and I wet it, and I brush my hair back. It takes me about 5 minutes. I brush it into place, and for the most part, unless I'm like fresh out of the shower and it puffs up a little bit when it dries, for the most part, the natural oils in my hair let it stay. Now, when I first started with this hairdo, I didn't know that, and I actually had hair gel. I was buying hair gels and stuff, and I was combing it back with this hair gel, and it looked all right, but number one, it smelled. All hair gel has a smell to it, and I didn't like the smell. And number two, what actually ended up happening was I would sweat because of the hair gel would make my hair heavy. My head would sweat, and I ended up getting rashes all across the back of my neck and on my ears from this hair gel because of it. And after using it for about 1.5 years, when I started doing my hair like this, I said, fuck it, just for the hell of it, I'm going to stop using the hair gel. And I stopped using the hair gel. I just started brushing my hair back with water, and it's fine. So I never needed the hair gel to begin with. If you have hair that's drier and doesn't have the natural oils to hold it in place, you're going to need to get some kind of a hair gel. I don't recommend getting the cakey shit because it ends up flaking. It ends up being really heavy. You can get one that's a lighter hold, okay? I've never used hairspray. I've heard some people use hairspray and have success with it. But for the most part, the 2-year experiment I had with hair gel, it worked, but it was horrible for my skin. I ended up stopped using it, and now I just use water and oil, and we're all good, all right?
Water and oil.
1 page left of questions. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read the patrons list. If you don't know who this is,
we're not going to listen to that. That's it for part 2. I will do part 3. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, you liked my voice. Hopefully you like me, guys. No, but I tried to, speak a little bit slower. I don't know how well I did in this part, but I know I did better in the first part. But, yeah, that's it. I was gonna say something about... Well, if I remember it, I'll talk about it in the third part. Thanks for watching. Oh, now I remember. What I was saying. So I think I know how he does his parts. He only takes 3 pages and does a part per page. Obviously. So, there you go. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.